There are few frequently asked questions which the students have been asking me. So I just thought of putting them down together. So maybe we can go through the questions of what queries or the students are having. So let's go ahead. So first query is filing income tax returns compulsory? As per the income tax laws, filing income tax return is mandatory for individuals whose total income during the financial year exceeds the basic exemption limit of more than the gross total income of 2.5 lakhs under the old tax regime or 3 lakhs under the new regime. You will be attracting penalties by not filing returns. Also, it will hamper your chances of getting a loan when you apply for a visa for travel purposes or even property registration. So now you are clear that the filing of income tax depends upon the gross total income under the old and the new tax regime. So the next question is, are there separate tax slabs for different categories? Individual taxpayer have to pay tax based on the age and income. For a financial year 23-24, income tax slab rates are divided into old regime, which has higher tax rates, with 3 tax slabs and different deductions for senior and super senior citizens, and revised new regime for lower tax rates. So definitely there are two separate slab rates for new and the old regime. Is there any standard deduction for FY 23-24? A standard deduction is a flat deduction of 50,000 to individuals earning a salary or a pension income under the head salaries, irrespective of expenses or investments by the individuals. So from FY 23-24, this deduction can be claimed under both regimes. So whether you're following the old tax regime or the new tax regime, you can claim a standard deduction of 50,000 irrespective of the expenses or the investments which you have made. So what is 80C limit for 23 and 24? So 80C is a popular section amongst taxpayers as it allows to reduce taxable income up to a maximum deduction of 1.5 lakhs by making tax investments like life insurance premium or incurring eligible expenses like school tuition fees, which are available only for individuals and HUF. However, deduction is not allowed if the taxpayer opts for new tax regime. So only in case of old tax regime you can claim deduction of section 80C. In case of new tax regime you cannot claim any deduction under section 80C. So now there is a lot of confusion what can be claimed and what cannot be claimed. So in the new and the old tax regime, so we will go ahead and answer these questions as well. How can individuals opt for the new tax regime? Understanding the exemptions. So there are a lot of inclusions and exclusions. Taxpayers choosing to file tax return under the new tax regime will have to forego a few exemptions and deductions that were available in the old tax regime, although there are 70 deductions and exemptions that taxpayer needs to forego. Most of them are we will discuss the common ones now. What are not allowed under the new tax regime? Leave travel allowance for salaried employee, house rent allowance, children education allowance, helper allowance, interest on housing loan under section 24, other special allowances under section 1014, professional tax, donation to political party, trust, etc. What's retained under the new tax rate regime? Retirement benefits gratuity you can still claim under the new tax regime. If you're opting for that, still all these deductions are available to you. Conveyance allowance for expenditure incurred for traveling for duties of an office. Transport allowance for specially abled people. Education scholarships. Retrenchment compensation. Investment in notified pension schemes under section 80 CCD subsection 2 and depreciation under section 32 of the Income Tax Act except additional depreciation. So these are the things you can still claim under the new tax regime. However, section 80C you could not claim under the new tax regime. So now, is there any standard deduction for FY 23-24? We've already covered this, however, we are covering it again. Yes, Income Tax Act allows a standard deduction of 50,000 to the income tax payable under the head salaries for FY 23-24. Standard deduction is a tax benefit that can be claimed irrespective of the actual amount spent on transport allowance and medical allowance and is applicable to individual earnings, salary or pension income. The limit of standard deduction was set as 50,000. So whether you are covered under the old tax regime or whether you're covered under the new tax regime, in both the regimes you can claim this standard deduction of 50,000 under the head of income from salaries. So there is a common question which we have: can we change tax regimes every year? Yes, individuals are allowed to switch between the old and the new tax regime as per the budget 2023. So in case in one year you feel that you want to opt for the old tax regime and the other year you feel that you want to opt for the new tax regime, you can claim, you can do it. So that was all. In case you have further queries, please feel free to send me message and I will answer as much as possible. Thanks you so much.